I want to thank everybody that has switched over to the Patreon platform. Thank you guys very much. Allows me to do this full time, much more consistently, and make a living off what I enjoy doing. And that's a real dream come true for me, and I appreciate those of you that have helped me do that. Check it out, patreon.com/Ryan Leone. There's different tiers of membership. The minimal tier is $3. That's 10 cents a day. If you think my content is worth 10 cents a day or more, I appreciate every level of contribution. There's different perks for each one. And I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys. Even if you're not willing to support me financially and you watch my videos every time I upload them, I appreciate you guys very much as well. Without you, I wouldn't have been in the position to be able to do Patreon in the first place. If you can like the video, if you can comment, if you can subscribe if you haven't already, and if you can share it with your friends. You know, I'm so close to 10,000 subscribers right now. If just a fraction of you guys were like with somebody and were like, let me see your phone, go on their YouTube and just press subscribe. If only like a very small percentage of you did that, I'll get to the 10,000 mark. And, you know, I appreciate that. I really do. 10,000 is a big milestone. And I don't think I ever could have done it without Al Prophet, Seth Ferrante, Simon Rex, Big Herc, Josh from 23&1. You guys are the ones that made it happen for me. And then all of you that watch and support. Even the ones that dislike the videos, the weirdos that... I noticed that. I made my second federal prison video public today because I gave the Patreon members first dibs on it, early access. And within like 30 seconds, somebody disliked it. Even if you dislike the video, that's engagement credit. You're helping with the YouTube algorithm. And I appreciate you guys. You don't realize that you're actually helping me by giving me a view and by helping with the engagement. I think it speaks volumes about what kind of person you are if you're waiting for my videos to come up just to dislike them. I couldn't imagine being that miserable where I'm like, oh my god, this YouTube guy just posted a video, fuck that fool, dislike. That's nuts to me. It's bananas. You know, it's probably, I want to say it's probably one of my exes or, you know, some guy that she's talking to.
He abused me, and now people make money. He makes money off of people watching him abuse me.
You know, I don't know. I never abused you. Not physically, anyway. And for the emotional abuse, I do apologize for that. You know, again, that had more to do with me than anything else. Insecurities, things that I've worked on for a long time. Things that I don't do to my wife, Karina, mother of my child, and I have become a much more healthy person. And that took a lot of work. So, thank you, everybody. Let's get into the story. We kind of left on a cliffhanger last time. I had 3 balloons full of tobacco in my mouth. There was this big Samoan U.S. Marshal, armed U.S. Marshal. Hey, what's in your mouth? Now, I could taste my own shit in my mouth. And I'm already dope sick. I'm already coming off alcohol. I'm already nauseated. It's like a storm has brewed inside of me. And it's very volatile. You know, it's you're constantly gagging anyway. And you're getting sneeze attacks from the opiate withdrawal. And now I have this in my mouth. I can taste the shit. What is that in your mouth? I put my hand over my mouth and I vomit. And like it's spraying out of my hand. It just kind of like splinters through my fingers. Just projectile vomit. But I filter the balloons and I eat them again. Try to swallow them. Gag again. He's like, what's going on? Now he's rushing towards me. Remember, I have shackles on. Putting my hand over my mouth. Vomit is going over the crusty film of shit that's already on my hand, so there's vomity shit just kind of seeping down my arm. rushes towards me. I finally get him down my throat, and he essentially tackled me. Not like violently, but he did like a bear hug, and we fell over. I don't think he, it wasn't like a full NFL tackle, nothing that you could play on like a highlight reel, and you're like, oh man, that guy got fucked off. But it was him giving me a bear hug, and then just me being so, disoriented, unstable, wavering from the withdrawal anyway, that I just kind of fell over. So now I'm on my side. The balloons the shitty vomit-laced balloons have successfully gone down my throat. I'm doing everything in my power not to vomit again, and I pretty much know that I'm completely screwed because he knows that I have something. And it's very common that people, try to smuggle stuff into jail or prison. It's called coming in right, we, like in county jail, we do like the rain dance. We do like Native American shit, like, ooh, like hoping that somebody will come in with drugs, and it's very frequent. If crystal meth comes in, that's when the butt-fucking conga lines come into play. But yeah, whenever meth hits a jail, things get weird. I am joking. I've never actually seen a butt-fucking conga line anywhere except for federal prison. That does not happen in any county jail I've ever been. But when meth is introduced, people tend to get very paranoid, very weird. I've seen people rip the mirrors off in the bathroom because they think that there's cameras behind it. I've seen people roll it up or check in, just go up to the cops and be like, I gotta go. For no reason. They don't know any money. It's just like a straight-up phantom check-in, phantom roll-up, It's very, very bizarre. And I've been in federal prisons where the hierarchy is telling the gang members below them, stop hitting with meth. Stop bringing meth in. Bring heroin, bring Suboxone, bring weed, bring wax, whatever. Don't bring speed because it creates way too many issues. People start stabbing people just out of straight up paranoia for no reason. It's weird stuff happens because of that drug. And like I said, there's a lot of prisons where the higher-ups won't even allow that to be smuggled in because things just get so bizarre. Point is I am being held by this big Samoan very tightly, it was almost, he was behind me. It was like Titanic-esque, he's like behind me, he's squeezing onto me, and I'm just like wiggling, like trying to get out of his grasp, not so much trying to get away from him because my legs are shackled together, the cuffs are around my ankles, and he is yelling for the other U.S. Marshal to come in. Now he comes in, he takes his gun out, points it to me, and they slowly start getting me up. What do you have? What do you have? And I'm like, I'm just sick, and immediately they cuff me, and they tell me that I'm going into a potty cell back at MDCLA. They're going to take me from the hospital in the condition that I'm in, coming off alcohol, coming off heroin, probably lingering withdrawal from the fentanyl as well, the fentanyl patches that I had gotten right before I had gone up to Morro Bay. And they're convinced that I have drugs on me in a balloon. And they were halfway right. It wasn't drugs, it was tobacco. It was Bugler that I wasn't willing to give up, which, in retrospect is, it's a testament to the level of a dope fiend that I truly was. That's insanity. Risking 5 years for tobacco, for the chance that you might get heroin to try to sustain some toxic, abusive, codependent relationship is absolutely insane. But you don't think that way when you're in the eye of the chaos. If you're a drug addict on my level, which I truly believe a lot of you that watch this are, you're a creature of compulsion. You maneuver through life handicapped by impulsivity, and you don't make the most rational decisions based on that impulsivity. And that's where I was, and that's why I was in this situation. I have a gun pointed at me, bear hugged by the Samoan, other U.S. Marshal has a gun pointed to me, which is never fun, and they're demanding to know what I have in my stomach, telling me that I'm going to a potty cell, a supervision cell. Basically what that means, I don't know if we've gone into it before, but it's an isolated cell, something comparable to, if you're in like solitary confinement, if you're in the shoe, the hole, the bucket, all the other colloquials for that, except there's no toilet in there, there's no sink, there's just a metallic bucket in the middle of the cell, and there's 4 cameras. There's one in this corner, one in this corner, one right here, one right here. And the point is, if you're under suspicion for smuggling contraband into a prison, usually at like a visit, at a contact visit, somebody will give them information that you're attempting to smuggle some sort of drug into the prison or whatever it's going to be, and they're keeping a closer watch on you and your visitor than normal. They're being very vigilant about it. Once they see, your girlfriend or whoever's visiting you pass the balloon, you swallow it, then they come and they arrest both of you. They cuff the inmate and then they cuff the visitor. They cart the visitor away, and they take the inmate to one of these potty or supervision cells, and, they give you, I want to say 72 hours, where the only time that you can use the restroom, whether it be piss or shit, is in this metallic bucket. And then there's somebody whose sole job is to put latex gloves and a gas mask on and go through your shit. If I wasn't a felon, that would be the first thing I'd sign up for. That sounds like a really great profession that you should have pride behind. I mean, what do you do for a living? I go through inmate shit. I make $60,000 a year, though, with federal benefits, 401k. So what? It's ridiculous. That's like a job. That's like a job title. Poop analysis. Federal poop analysis. They have like a little gold badge on. They give them the little sticker badge, just so that they feel like they're part of the force. Those are the guys that couldn't, meet the physical requirements to be a correctional officer. They're the ones that they had to, hop over a half-foot hurdle and they just fell. They're like, They're like, listen, you can be the poop analysis. It's like, tantamount to the water boy if you're playing football or something. No, I made all that up. I mean, there really is somebody that looks through your shit like that, but I don't think it's a specific job like that. I mean, I just wanted, for the sake of being funny. But somebody actually is assigned to do that. I don't think it's a specific job title, though. That'd be funny if it was. I'm not sure. So they're telling me, I have a gun drawn to me. The guy's like, he's like, come out. Now, the guy's still holding me, but he kind of lets go. And I'm like, I have to shuffle towards him. And I'm like, look, I'm just kicking. I don't have anything on me. The other guy's like, that's bullshit. I saw something in his mouth. He had something in his cheek. He has balloons on him. He said balloons. I was like, Jesus Christ. Now, another thing that I found out later, but is pertinent to this particular part of this story, is that the first time that I'd gone to the feds, I had balloons on me. Somebody told on me, and it went in my permanent record, that I smuggled balloons in. I never got caught for it, but they wrote it down that somebody had said it, so it's in my file. So, I don't know if they were expecting it or anticipating it, but he said balloons. He didn't see any balloons. He said balloons. When I ate it, it was in my cheek. When I threw up, I swallowed it immediately, and now it's in my stomach, and I am trying so hard not to gag. This coppery taste of human feces is just in my mouth. Tastes disgusting. If you've ever given your partner a rim job, you know what this tastes, but this is like the most potent, refined extract version of that taste imaginable. You cannot get that taste out of your mouth. I don't care what you do. I can taste it now. It was like 4 years ago. I can still taste that shit. Move out of the bathroom. So I'm like shuffling. The guy's still like, puppeteering me out of there. They cuff me. You're going to the potty cell. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm kicking. Can't believe that they're doing this to me. So they have me sit on the bed. So I shuffle back to the bed. I sit down, and they get on their cell phone, and they start talking to the lieutenant back at MDCLA. They're like, we have inmate Leone. And I'm like, hey, man, it's Leone. If you're going to roust me, you may as well fucking say my name right, buddy. It's Leone. And, of course, Simone looks at me and is just like, ugh. Just hates me. I'm the enemy. We have inmate Leone, and we are suspicious that he's trying to smuggle contraband into the facility. Well, I was supervising him at, how do they say it? 0600 hours, or however you say military time. That's how COs talk in the feds, because, it's through the Department of Justice, so there's a lot of militaristic, ways of doing things that they employ as well. We saw him at 0600 hours. He had something visibly in his cheek, and then he went to go throw it up, and he ate whatever he had. Now, I can't hear what they're saying, but Well, I think we need to put him in a observation cell, potty cell. This goes on for like 3 minutes. You can imagine the anticipation that I'm going through. I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, this is what's going through my head. I'm like, okay, I'm completely screwed right now. They are going to get me in one of these observation, supervision chambers, whatever it is, whatever it's officially called. They are going to wait until I shit out tobacco, and I'm going to get 5 years at 87% in federal prison. I'm already on federal probation, so it's probably going to be worse. I've already been convicted of a federal drug felony, so it's probably going to be worse. God, I might get 10 years. Who knows? This is on top of the emotional, mental, and physical withdrawal of alcohol and opiates. And I just start sobbing. I mean, my tears go down my face like it's a fountain. I'm looking up, and Trump is on TV, all victorious with that smug smile he has, with the Oompa Loompa complexion or whatever, the weird blonde hair, and it's dystopian. This is my nightmare. I mean, this is what's going on. I'm screwed. And so I hear he gets off the phone and he tells his partner, he goes, we're going to have to do the supervision here. So I interpret that as they're still going to go through my shit, but now these guys have to personally do it. They're not going to medical stuff trumps security breach stuff. But, of course, the security breach stuff is very important to them, so they're still going to go by protocol to some degree, but they're going to look through my shit at this place, and they're going to have to do it personally, is how I'm interpreting it. Or maybe the poop specialist is transported specifically there for that purpose. Probably have some, brown-colored van, poop analysis, on the, emblazoned on the side of it. You see him come in with this, safari hat on, a little oxygen mask. No, I'm just kidding. But, and this is how I interpret this. I'm making assumptions at this point. I don't know if that's for sure what they're going to do, but from what I heard from his conversation, that's how I interpret it, and I get just a little teeny sliver of optimism at this point. I'm like, okay, if he's going to do this, and if, maybe they won't even do it. Maybe they're going to be so grossed out by my dope sick shit, which, by the way, smells considerably worse than somebody that doesn't have toxins oozing out of their asshole. Dope sick farts, dope sick shits, smell like the inside of a pumpkin for some reason. And if you've experienced this, you know exactly what scent I'm talking about. It's just a rancid, rank, rotten fucking smell. So, I'm sitting on the bed, and they are kind of talking to each other, not kind of leaning into each other, talking so I can't hear them. Maybe not a whisper, but they're far enough away from me where I can't really hear what they're saying. They talk for maybe 5 minutes, and they say, that they're going to do the observation stuff there. That I am not allowed to use the restroom without supervision. And as soon as I take a shit, they are going to send it for analysis. So I was wrong about that part. They weren't going to do it personally. And so all of a sudden the optimism goes away. I'm like, oh my God. So they're going to collect a sample of my shit, and then they're going to give it to somebody, and then they're going to find these balloons. They're going to find Bugler, and I'm going to be indicted for Bugler. $7, probably $21 worth of tobacco, maybe 8-10 years in prison or something. And I'm just like, ugh. It couldn't be worse. And I'm like, yeah, at this point, you have no choice but to do the poker bluff. Be like, yeah, I don't have anything on me. If you really feel compelled to go through my shit, go ahead. Now I'm getting confident. Shit, I'm getting arrogant about it. Yeah, I don't care. I'll shit every day for the next 6 months. And you can look through it every time. So what? And they're just looking at me like, because, think about how it just, the whole thing is just so bizarre. They're literally threatening to look through my poop. In any other situation, that's so laughable. But this, there's prison time behind this poop. So, we're like, well, for now, because of your medical condition, we're gonna cuff and shackle you back to the bed. I'm like, okay, whatever. And so they do the old hands like this on each side of the bed post, and my legs spread eagle, both ankles shackled to those bedposts. And I'm like, hey man, can I have one arm in case I get like an itch or something? And he just looks at me, he's like, you've got nothing coming, Gavacho. This is a Samoan guy using Spanish. I'm like, Gavacho? And he's like, that's right, Gavacho. The feds have nicknamed me Gavacho because when Jenny and I got set up originally back in 2008, before I was indicted, it was called Operation Gavacho Gavacha. Operation Gavacho / Gavacha. Gavacho means white boy in Spanish. Gavacha means white girl. And Diane Ortiz, also known as Goofy, was the informant on that case. She had set us up. She didn't even know my name. I'd been dealing with this woman for like years. She thought my name was white boy in Spanish. Gavacho. She had never called me that to my face, but, I read all of the discovery. I read the statement. She didn't know, well, what's his name? I don't know. He's a white boy. And she got 3 years, I got 5 years. Just shows the incredible unfairness of the legal system. You reward somebody that did something worse than you because they're making their job easier. She does more time than me because I don't open my mouth. And, if the Department of Justice really is running under militaristic ideology, you would think that they would not, reward informants, snitches. How would they like it if I got captured in North Korea or, I was in Afghanistan and I was a POW? And I'm like, well, I don't want to get my big toe cut off, so I'm just going to tell you where all the rest of the troops are. You're a traitor. You're a piece of shit for life. But somehow, if you're a criminal and you tell another criminal and you make their job, because, listen, they're not that smart. The vast majority of cases are for people that are snitching, and it's just a domino effect. This guy gets busted, tells on this guy, and then it turns into this big thing, and that's what happened with me. It was a sensationalized case to begin with. They said I was part of a cartel. I was not part of a cartel. Any drug is going to be led back to a cartel. It does not mean that I had some active role in it. It's not like I was some fucking rancher, wore flannel and, grew coca plants and, refined it into cocaine or, used poppy plants to make heroin. I didn't do anything like that. I had a connection in East LA and, I picked up 1 pound, 2 pounds, 3 pounds at the most a week. But somehow I'm a cartel, I'm a narco-terrorist. And, now this is 2017, beginning of 2017. I had caught that case in 2008. So, we're talking about, this is almost a decade later, and it's still coming back to haunt me. And it's just an ugly situation. So I knew that I was going to be probably looking at another indictment at this point. There was no way to get out of this. And they asked me if I wanted to shower. And, now every single move that I make has to be under scrutiny. They're going to watch everything. And so they're like, listen, if you want to shower, we can also take you for a walk. And I'm like, take me for a walk? What does that even mean? Like I'm some dog that you're going to walk around the block? And see, this particular place that I was, is part of the hospital where they keep federal inmates or state inmates that require medical attention but are technically incarcerated. They keep them in the psych ward part of this particular hospital, White Memorial. So as I'm like, I don't want to walk. I'm dope sick, but I'm trying to have as much interaction with these guys outside of this little hospital room just to try to maybe humanize myself, try to maybe talk myself out of the situation. So they start walking me, and I'm cuffed, I'm shackled. They walk me around the psych ward. There's like other psych ward people getting walked, screaming things. And I fit right in. I mean, just the condition that I'm hunched over, I'm sick. I know that I have possible legal consequences. And, this story I've been talking more about like what they were actually doing to me, but like, let's not forget how sick I actually was. At this point, I'm still having DT hallucinations. The best way to describe them is buggy. I'm looking at wallpaper and the wallpaper is like peeling. It almost looks like the fluttering wings of like a fly. Just imagine wallpaper fluttering. And it's like consistent, and that it's not there, and then you see bugs crawling on the walls, and you're seeing little like almost rats or tarantulas scutter by very fast, but you can't really discern what it is because it's a hallucination and it's just some sort of movement that you see. It's probably the best way that I can describe it. Audible and visual hallucinations at this point. The kind of stuff that I'm hearing is sirens. I'm hearing, like when you're on the street and you hear like an ambulance or a police car, fire truck, when it has its lights on, the siren's going. You hear it in the far distance. It's muffled to some degree, but it's still loud. And I was hearing those kind of sounds in my head very, very frequently. It sounded like distant sirens, and I'm seeing these bugs. And I'm also dealing with normal opioid withdrawal. All the normal symptoms with that. I'm getting the goosebumps. I'm getting the chills. They have me on my Tylenol 3 plan, which is like, I don't know how any dick was ever sucked for that drug. I just don't get it. I mean, that's as bad as for marijuana or something, but it's, it's not helping me. And the Librium that they're giving me is such a small dose that I'm still hallucinating, and I'm shaking badly, and I'm incredibly nauseous. And I know that the moment that I shit, I'm going to catch possibly a decade in prison, which is a real problem when you're kicking anything, because diarrhea is one of the, signatory symptoms of withdrawal for most substances, especially opiates, especially alcohol, benzos as well. Really bad diarrhea. The last video I described it as a wooden keg that has a cork in it, and when you're strung out, the cork is in that wooden keg. The second that habit goes away, yanked out, and the floodgates open, and you have the propensity to have this explosive volcanic diarrhea. So these are the things that I'm dealing with as they're walking me around the psych ward, and I'm watching completely batshit crazy people screaming, which is making it even more nightmarish than it already is. It's like being in some perpetual bad acid trip, and they take me to the shower, they uncuff one hand, and they're letting me, I have one of these gowns on, so I have one hand to shower with. Well, This other thing is on like this weight, like they put this chain thing around my waist that's attached to the shackles, and they have one hand attached to it because they like really look at me as some sort of security risk. So I only have one hand to shower with, and the withdrawal is so severe that the shower feels like hail or like little pebbles coming out. It doesn't feel like water. It hurts. It physically hurts. Probably I don't know. Maybe it's probably the alcohol withdrawal. Even though water doesn't feel that good when you're kicking, unless it's very hot shower, that does feel good. But typically jails don't have the kind of temperature that you need to find relief. I've been in county jail settings where I'm kicking so hard that I'll take the trash can, like it's like in the day room, and I'll bring it into the shower, and I will sit in this filthy, ant-infested trash can, fill it up with lukewarm water, and sit in it like it's like some old school barrel fucking jacuzzi bath or something. It's disgusting. And you can smell like rotten ham like all over you from the sandwiches that people throw away, and milk that's rotted, and that's just going all over you, and you're just like, I don't even care. I'm so sick. And as soon as you get out of the water, that, the change of temperature just makes you shake, even if you're not kicking alcohol. But because I'm kicking alcohol, I'm already shaking severely anyway. And, I finish up. Very hard to dry yourself with one free hand. This whole time, I'm having to take a shit, but I know that the second I do, they're going to make me, put it in some sort of, specimen container, bag, whatever, which I put a lot of thought into. I'm like, well, I'm not having solid bowel movements. I'm having the shit equivalent of sneezing. It's like squirts out this liquid, like spews out of you, like a broken sprinkler or something, but it's just like mud coming out of your butthole. I can't see how you could fill that up in any sort of specimen container with any sort of efficacy. And these are all things that I'm thinking about because I know that, I'm thinking of every angle. Like, how am I going to get out of this? What's going to happen? Am I going to shit? And am I going to have time to grab the balloons again? And can I eat them again? And will that just prolong the process? Because all the people that I've ever heard that have been in these observation cells, I've asked them, well, what if you shit the balloons out and then eat it? And I've heard people be like, well, nobody would do that. Well, here I am. I did that. So I'm thinking, well, what if I just keep eating it? Well, what can they do? Like, what if I just keep eating it forever? Are they going to have somebody in some, biohazard bodysuit that just tackles me and doesn't allow me to put the balloons back in my mouth? Will I be able to keep this going for much longer? I don't know. I'm not really sure. I heard my buddy Seth Ferrante, who's filmmaker. He did the White Boy documentary. It's on Stars. It's about to be on Netflix. He's Nico's godfather. Very good friend of mine. I was just with him and his wife the other day. He wrote the Penthouse article and the Huffington Post piece about me. Seth was trying to smuggle acid into a federal prison. I think. I want to say that I think this is the person, because I had read this. He didn't tell me this. I read it. I'm pretty sure that he's the person that did this. He's trying to smuggle acid and weed in, and they caught him, and somehow, while he was in the observation cell, he had eaten the blotter acid, and so he's having to try to shit in this bucket while frying on acid. I'm almost positive that it was Seth that happened to. And if it was, I'll definitely get him on the channel to tell that story, because I read it and it was wild. Being on acid in that situation, it was almost like I was on acid anyway. But I'm trying to figure out what to do. And saving grace, when U.S. Marshals are observing you. Now, the whole time, the Samoan and the other guy looks kind of like Conor McGregor. That's what this other guy looks like. Other guy looks like a Samoan. When they watch you, when they outsource this work to the U.S. Marshals to do private security and to watch somebody that's in custody in a hospital setting, private security 24 hours a day, eventually you switch out with, you're replaced with 2 other U.S. Marshals. I think it's every 72 hours, I want to say. And so I'm trying so hard not to shit. I'm so dope sick. I'm screaming at the nurses. These Tylenol 3s aren't doing anything for me. U.S. Marshal's like, you need to calm down. I'm like, you shut the fuck up. We're fighting back and forth. And eventually the U.S. Marshals are like, listen, if you keep talking to the nurses like that, we're just going to take you back to MDCLA. We don't care about your medical condition. I'm like, I'm kicking alcohol. I can die from that. You can't do that to me. He's like, oh yeah. Watch what we can do. And it's just like this constant game of, verbal chess between us. And they're always getting the upper hand on me because I'm fucking cuffed like this and shackled. I mean, what can I do in that position? They could do anything. They could get like super spun out and just suck my dick. I wouldn't even be able to do anything. I'd just be like, no, stop, I have rights. And they just keep doing it. Nothing you can do in that situation. So talking shit to them is serving me no purpose. Saving grace is that they're replaced by 2 other U.S. Marshals. One of them's a black guy. Other one is like a kind of short Hispanic dude. So these guys leave, and as they're leaving, when these new guys come in, they're like, hey, so what's this guy's deal? And they're like, he's a real handful. He's got, he's a real handful. We already had talked to him about getting verbally abusive with the nurses. And I'm like, they're Chinese. They don't even speak fucking English. Like, see? You see what we're dealing with? And it was hard for me to control what I was saying in my temper because of the withdrawal. And what's funny is that these 2 guys that were taking their place were actually kind of laughing about the whole situation, because now they're explaining how I was in the bathroom and they think that I have contraband in balloons and that I'm not to shit by myself, and whenever I do make a bowel movement, they have to collect a sample. And like the black guy is just kind of like laughing at it's a ridiculous situation. So these guys end up leaving, and this Mexican guy and this black guy, maybe like 10 minutes after they leave, they're like, hey man, like, do you want us to uncuff you? So we need to leave one leg attached to the bedpost, but the way that they have you is ridiculous. I mean, I'm sitting there and I'm just like, yeah, man, imagine kicking heroin or imagine kicking alcohol both at the same time and being shackled and handcuffed like that. It's torturous. That is absolute torture. It's like waterboarding, man. It's crazy that they were doing that to me, I think. And so these guys, right off the bat, I knew that I had more action with them, because they're like, do you want us to uncuff you? And we can even take one of the shackles off. So they uncuff me, hands are free, and I only have one leg shackled to the bed, which is how it should be. When you're coming off drugs like that, you're thrashing around. You have restless leg syndrome. When you're chained and you don't have mobility, you're going nuts. And that's why I was screaming at the nurses. And I was screaming at them. And we can go into what happened in my second time in federal prison, part 3. I just want to make sure to get this video up. Because I have to go run errands with my wife. I want to make sure to get you guys something every day. Please hit like, subscribe, comment, and check out Patreon. Patreon.com/Ryan Leone. I appreciate you guys. Lots more to come. Palabra.